Welcome to 6 Minutes. Jason Fulmore, SC Russell, sitting here with fat and scrappy Lucas Desilva, who is fueled up for this for this conversation.
I'm ready to go, my boy. We got 7 classes, 8 quads to go through in each of them. Good Lord. Thank you, GHSA, for being stupid. Thank you. Thank you.
I probably should go ahead and make the disclaimer now that whatever Lucas says is not necessarily my opinion. Okay, just so I keep it.
What he said on this podcast does not necessarily represent the views of Jason Fulmore or Southeast Wrestling LLC.
You got that right. Anyway, so Lucas and I are going to break down. At least in this podcast, we're going to break down the Georgia odd classifications. So we're going to start with 7, 5, 3, and finish with maybe a controversial one in 1A. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about 6, 4, and 2. But before we get to that, Lucas, I'm 99% sure everybody in Georgia and pretty much all over the place knows who you are and all of those sorts of things, but your Fat and Scrappy brand. You're at Bruton Parker now.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us just a real brief thing about what has Lucas's life been like over the last 12 months as far as wrestling and school?
You know, it's been awesome because in October, wrestling at the Light Field, and that was the first tournament I'd wrestled in 22 months. So finally getting back on the mat and getting back into competing, it's Mount Vernon's got something special going on. Devon Dodgens, Kenny Mason, Matthew Johnchuk, Mike Cruz, the whole staff, Emily Mason, who's our lifting coach, and you got the team. I go on, boys and girls. So I'm not going to name any names because I don't want anyone to get annoyed at me if I forget someone. But both teams, it's a real family environment, and I know these guys and girls are ready to go to war with me, and it's a lot of fun. I love it. It's obviously not what I expected to be at, obviously, because I was at Kent State previously, but coming here, it was a lot different because I've always lived in bigger city. So being in Mount Vernon, which is the middle of nowhere, it's different, but I like it. It's just different, you know?
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, and I think that for everybody who's kind of thinking about wrestling in college and kind of moving out in that direction, it's about finding the fit that works best for you.
Yes,
it's not about a D1 program or a D3 program or this type of program or this or that or whatever. You have to find, because you're going to spend a lot of time there, you got to find the fit that works for you and it's going to help you.
You got to find the people. The people is what really matters. I mean, and you look at Kent, let's call it what it is. Once Sean Scott's left, who was the guy who recruited me and really I knew really well, it went downhill from there. And you kind of see it where all the guys there was the exodus of Kent guys. Me, Avery Mutual, now Reinhardt, Patty Gould, who just signed to Kaiser. We were all Sean Scott's boys. All of us were recruited in by Scott's, So
yeah,
it kind of makes sense the way it worked out. It makes sense.
All right. So we are here to talk about the state duels, and we are in the preliminary round. And for those individuals who don't know, I'm going to do some sharing of screen and come back to us and kind of flip back and forth. But I'm going to start with sharing the screen right now. Let's see here. And you're talking about somebody who's not terribly literate here, technologically.
And hey, G, just say thanks for this, by the way, because Lord knows I needed more to talk about. Thanks.
Yeah, you can talk about anything with anyone. All right, so Lucas, tell me, you can see that in front of you?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
All right. So just so everybody knows, what we have in front of us, this is the 7A brackets. And the way that we think about this is that there are 8 quads within each of the classifications. So this is a quad, this is a quad, this is a quad, and we'll kind of go by quads, and I'll explain all that as we get down further. One of the things that I've had questions from parents about is that does the winner here meet the winner here next weekend in wherever they are, because they're all in 7 different locations? And the answer to that is no. And that answers
my question.
Okay. All
right. Putting a question ahead. Because if that's the case, the bottom right quadrant for 7A is a madness. Yeah. But okay, so that answers my question.
Right. So you'll get these 8 teams that come out, and those 8 teams will then be seeded.
Gotcha.
On Sunday. So we'll have a different looking bracket once all of this is resolved. So all we have to think about, if you're a coach at the moment, you have to think about your quad, winning 2 matches to get to the Elite 8, to get to the finals and to that final bracket, and that's it. So that's where we're going to focus. We're not going to kind of project all the way out or anything along those lines. We're going to focus in on each of these quads. But before we get to projecting out on the quads and that sort of thing in 7A, let's go back to Camden has been the team in 7A.
Yes, they have.
Yes, they have. So is this the year that Camden wins it? Another one?
No.
Okay.
And this is the thing. To my Camden boys, Wilder has built an oasis for wrestling in that area. Don't get it twisted. I have the utmost respect for the Camden County wrestling community, their team. I have the utmost respect for them. But them heifers stole a ring from me. So I will never pick them to win a state title. I'm going to pick against them. No, listen to me. I'm going to pick against them in perpetuity until they lose so that I could say I called it. It is no disrespect to them. They are the odds-on favorite. They look like they are the best team in the state once again. I can make the case now that we see Woodland and Cass, the divide is a little bit different to what some people might have suspected it being. I can make the case for Camden being a top 3 team today in the state pound for pound. But guess what? When we get to Sunday, I'm still picking against them. I'm just making it clear now.
Okay. All right. So if you're not
Camden,
and we're not
hate on you, boy.
And if we're not going to really do predictions, but if you were to make an argument of, or I'm not going to, you can make all the predictions you want to. But if you were talking about 7A, what is the 7A team, if it's not Camden, that you think stands out?
You're asking me a trickier question. Honestly, there's 2 that come to mind.
Okay.
Bambinelli Gang in Mill Creek. I think that they have a lot of talent in that team. They're still pretty young.
Okay.
I think that they're a team to look out for. And then I think Gerard and the crew at North Forsyth. I had West ahead of them going into county. Excuse me. I apologize to Lord Gerard. I didn't know. And then you see them, and they just look incredible. Like, they look really good. And I remember North Forsyth being good when I was in high school. But this is not your Paul Watkins and Dooley and Kennedy North Forsyth. This is a new North Forsyth that they looked like a good team. In previous years, they had a lot of good individuals. They look like a good team right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that top to bottom, and that's one of the things I think is really important to talk about, is that to win a dual title, you have to have top to bottom 14 weights.
I found that out.
And I'm sorry.
I found that out the hard way.
Yeah. I mean, you can have 5 studs, but 5 studs may not carry the day, and having as few holes as possible and having as many, even if a kid is not going to go out and win a state title or even place at the state, but can win a match or stop a match from not getting pinned.
Just fight for 6 minutes and keep it as close as he can.
Is going to be huge in the outcome of many duels.
And hey, if you're a wrestler who isn't a state champion level kid, if you're not one of those kids, you want to show yourselves to college programs and you want to show yourself something that can really get you noticed. And this is something that I noticed just from talking to college coaches is, hey, you're going to wrestle RJ Weston. Don't get pinned. And if you could go out and keep it to a major, if you can show that you have that ability to wrestle one of these hammers and just fight your ass off for 6 minutes and keep it as close as it can be, a college coach is going to look at that and they're going to really notice it.
Yeah.
There's a little tip on the slide for my boys digging in the trenches. I see y'all. I respect it.
There you go. All right. So let's go back to the screen and share this. And as you take a look at this, remember we got 8 quads. So
yes, we do.
Which quad stands out to you as like a grind. It's going to be a tough quad to get through.
Honestly, in an odd way, that whole left side of the bracket sticks out to me in each quad. So we go top. Let's go top to bottom. Yeah, and that first one, Woodstock, I think will take care of business against Berkmar.
Okay.
And they walk into either Hillgrove or Lowndes, and Lowndes is not a third-place team. For everybody who may not know, Lowndes has some killers. D. Tommaso, and then you have the whole McCullough crew. Whoever comes out of that quad right there is going to be battle-tested.
Mm-hmm.
You move one step down. East Coweta, I think, is in a similar position to Woodstock. They'll probably take care of business against Parkview, but then you walk into Lambert and Mountain View, two teams that I had in my top 10 on the bottom half of the top 10, but been in and out of that top 10 for the entire season. I happen to think it's Lambert's duel. I think they match up good against Mountain View, but then again, I hate Mountain View with a burning passion, but the one thing I have to give them is this. No, I'm honest. I told you, I'm going to be honest. They find ways to win these dual meets. They are a very well-coached team. I have to always give them that. I think East Coweta is the team to win it there, but don't be surprised if the Longhorns or even the Mountain View Bears find a way into the state meet.
Okay. All right. So you think the entire left side, all four of these quads are
oh my God, yeah,
grinders. Okay. So
then we go to three. Then we go to three, and we have a possible Archer-Colquitt matchup, which I'm sorry, that duel right there should be a blood round. That duel right there should be a state quarterfinal. Like, that is a hell of a duel meet. Because Archer, again, you got Madrewski and the crew, and then at Colquitt, Sellers and Paradise and the boys. Are you kidding me? That is my duel to watch, assuming it happens. Colquitt Archer, get your popcorn, get your soda, take your bathroom break beforehand. That's the one to watch. That's going to be, to me.
I agree with you. I agree with you. That was one of the matches that stood out to me as a possible, match to get to the Elite Eight. And I'm going, wow, that's going to be a really good one. So
is it fair to say that the winner of that places? I think the winner of that places.
I agree with you. I think
whoever
that's
wins
fair.
that is going to be taking home a trophy.
All right, so go quad four.
West Forsyth and North Gwinnett is going to be a sneaky close duel because West Forsyth does have holes, and that might end up biting them because North Gwinnett, shout out to McKee, has done a great job of doing a lot with not a lot. You know what I mean? He's always made his team solid top to bottom when he could. I remember in my days, you go back to my senior year, they almost beat Mountain View in that state dual bracket. They were razor thin, one match away. And they have to walk into a Brookwood, whoever wins that. And Brookwood, again, Brookwood is a very interesting team because every year they have some of the same problems, but they still can get the job done when it matters most. So this is one where I almost think the favorite is the 2 seed. I think most people might pick West Forsyth over Brookwood, and I might be in that camp, but Brookwood can bang. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, if we get on Monday morning and North Gwinnett is in the state bracket, I will say, okay, I believe that. I could believe any of those three getting in. Shout out to Campbell. Congratulations on getting there, but you're in a rough spot. God bless you otherwise. But any of those three, if they're in the tournament, I won't be at all surprised. All three of those are really solid.
All right, so I'm going to interrupt you now because you brought up something I thought was really important, and you've talked about the first four. And the question then I have is, you identified North Gwinnett as a third, a team that took third out of their region. Are they possibly the team that could get through that is the lowest region finisher?
There's only one other three that I'm looking at that I'm like, hey, they might be able to get through, and that's Lowndes.
Yeah.
Them as a 3. But otherwise, I don't see any of the 4s. Like, listen, I got Sea Hill tattooed on me. I love Collins Hill to death, but you off the scales get North Forsyth. I'm sorry. Good luck to you. I don't see a 4 getting in, but I could see North Gwinnett, Lambert, or Lowndes. If I had to pick one, if I had to tell you as a betting man who's most likely, I'm going to say Lowndes
Okay.
But North Gwinnett could. North Gwinnett could.
Okay.
I could see it happening, and I wouldn't be all too surprised. Now, there are some other classifications where I might call a 4.
Yeah, but we're not there yet.
We're not. We'll get there. I'm just saying.
We'll get there. All right, so let's go to the right-hand side, right? Let's go to quads 5 through 8.
This, I think, is the Raiders to lose. I think that they are far beyond Collins Hill. No disrespect to Milhoff and the crew. Let me tell you something, though. Milhoff has got like 30, 40 guys in that Collins Hill room. That's the first time I've seen that since Etheridge left. Give him some time. Collins Hill's on the way up. Give it some time.
Right.
But I don't see McEachern or South Gwinnett really posing too much of a threat. I think North Gwinnett kind of comfortably walks through to a state meet.
North Forsyth, yeah.
Oh, Forsyth, damn, you're right. My bad.
Nope, I'm with you. I knew what you meant. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear. All right, so let's jump down to quad 6. And I'm going to throw out Tift County. And the reason I'm going to throw them out is because last year, all 4 Region 1 teams made it to the Elite 8. So, but they pull a tough North Paulding team. North Paulding has looked outstanding this year.
You want to talk about a team who's not getting a lot of coverage, but really when you look at their results, go tournament by tournament, they continue to just dog some teams. And it's like, are the Wolfpack legit? Like, could we be talking after next week that North Paulding stole a team trophy? And I'm here to tell you, they maybe could. Like, don't get it twisted. North Paulding can bang.
Right.
And for me, it's a matter of, so I honestly think that 1-4 is going to decide who wins that quad.
Okay.
With all due respect to Cherokee and Discovery, I think North Paulding, this is a big test for them because Tiff every year shows that they can wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be one of those duels where this is a prove it. This is a you should win this, and you should win this somewhat comfortably. Now prove that you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know. I agree with you. I agree. I agree.
And if they do, they're in a good spot.
Quad 7 and your darlings from Mill Creek.
I'm going to be honest. That like Roundtree trained. Like I got to be honest. This is the first time I'm ever going to say this. Mill Creek looks legit.
They do. They look good.
I'm predicting them to take a team trophy. And again, I got to pick somebody over Camden. It might just be the Hawks that I pick.
All right. So you're not on the Camden train. Let's jump on down to quad 8. Are you saying that they get to the state?
No, they're getting through. But it's like last year. I'm predicting them to get second. I don't know against who yet. I haven't decided who gets first. But Camden gets second. Okay. And it's just, to make this clear for anyone asking, this is purely out of spite.
And
all it is.
Yeah, I understand.
Make it very clear.
All right. So let's move
5A.
down. Let's move down to 5A. All right.
This is a fun one.
All right. So before we get, this is actually what the bracket looks like. But before we get to the actual bracket, I am going to go back to us. And we have talked all year in 5A about Woodland and Woodward Academy and Cass. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and throw out there that I think that Ola is a super good team. A super good team.
Yes.
And Cass beat Woodland fairly handily in the region duels. I'm not saying I don't know what was going on. I don't know if somebody was out or people were out or anything along those lines.
From what I saw, Cass just took all the swing matches. Like,
okay,
it was one of those things where there was like 4 or 5 swings and Cass took all of them.
Okay.
Like, but they were all close. It wasn't as much that they were getting pinned. It was just all the matches that Woodland would have needed to beat, they got beat. It is what it is.
But I think that top to bottom, like we were talking about before, winning a duel is about being a team. And you can have a lot of studs, and each of those 3 programs have a ton of studs. But Ola is a team. from top to bottom. So I'm not going to say that they're going to win or surprise any of the other three, but that's a team, in my opinion, you should better keep an eye on.
I'm gonna call it like this. Do not be surprised if by the time State Duals is over, we see the Olam Mustangs on a very high podium. Just do not be surprised if they ding off one of these teams. Because they could. It's within their range. But obviously, I think the presumed top three are there for a reason, but don't be surprised if the Mustangs make something happen. Sam Harris, Reese Jones, that whole crew, top to bottom, not only do they have a top to bottom, they got hammers in that lineup.
That's true.
So don't be surprised if it happens.
All right. So which of these 8 quads, starting top left, going down to the 4, and then top right and down to that, which of these 8 quads is the toughest quad, in your opinion?
I want to be sure because I'm pretty sure I know what one it is.
I'm actually going to flip it over so you can see it here.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
I gotta say, there's a really interesting one on that right quadrant there. The top right or the bottom right one: Locust Grove, McIntosh, Chapel Hill, Walnut Grove. That one right there is fascinating to me.
And why is it fascinating?
You look at Walnut Grove, they're not a historical powerhouse. You look at Locust Grove, they've had really good runs in the past couple of years. You look at McIntosh, I can make the same argument. This is really a changing the guard of sorts, because if Walnut Grove behind Landon Moss and, I love this kid to death and I can't think of his name, Gareth Adderhold, and that whole crew, if they can get through, this really shows that WG might be on the way up to be like a legitimate power in years to come.
Okay.
It's fascinating for what that means more than the results, if that makes any sense.
Sure. And I in the write-up that I did or I'm doing right now, I used the Grappler's rankings, and I want to go ahead and shout out the Grappler because ranking anyone in Georgia with the lack of results that we have is just crazy. It's like trying to put a 1,000-piece puzzle together with only 150 pieces. We have no results whatsoever within this state, and it drives me bonkers. But
I want to say something on that real quick. I want to say something to all you Twitter nerds and computer keyboard warriors. We rank, because I did rankings and I started catching heat for it too. So now I'm gonna say something. We do it for fun because we are passionate about this. It is people like Jason Fulmore and Georgia Grappler and Ward that push our community forward by giving press and giving recognition to these kids. So if you really want to decide who's the better man, measure them. Stop worrying about these damn rankings and wrestle. Because if it wasn't for guys like this doing what they're doing, I promise you there would be a void in the Southeast and in the state of Georgia specifically. Because our state association doesn't got the nuts to do what's right. So these guys are going to push it along the damn selves. That's all I got to say on that.
We're going to go ahead and remind everyone that the views or the words expressed by Lucas do not necessarily reflect. I'm just saying.
These people come at you and Grappler, and it pisses me off because you guys do a great job. You guys are everywhere. You are on the phones, in your cars, doing what you got to do for the state. It makes me mad because you guys do a great job. So that's all I got to say on that.
It is. It is.
On to 5A.
On to 5A. All right, so let's take one of these one at a time. You've already identified the Locust Grove quad, but let's go quad 1 and quad 2. So quad 1 up at the top.
Yeah, it's the Southwest DeKalb getting a win in their region. I did, like, they were a team that I didn't even really think of, and then I looked at the region results. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think personally, Coffee and Blessed Trinity both are a solid squad. So
yeah, this is a solid region too, or quad.
Well, I think it's even. I think it's pretty even about who is going to get out and who is not, and it might come down.
Remember when I said that I might call a 4? This might be that 4 because Blessed Trinity can bang and they have 14 and they can wrestle top to bottom. So this is almost in a weird way paraboling North Paulding and Tift. North Paulding, not normally a power. Tift was always normally in the state meet. Blessed Trinity, they've been in these state tournaments. Southwest DeKalb, not as much. This is a prove-it duel to me for Southwest DeKalb, but I think this one favors history. I think Blessed Trinity, I think will get through DeKalb, and I could see them in Coffee having a very solid duel to get to the Elite Eight. Like, that's going to be a fun quad.
All right, how about quad 2? Harris
County sneaky good, bro.
Yeah,
then again, Jackson County finds ways to win. This is another fun one. Like 5A, this is what I love about 5A, is that take out your Elite 3, let's say, just for the time being.
Right.
Can we just say from rankings 4 to like 15, there's a lot of interchangeability? Like, there's a lot of really solid teams in 5A.
I agree.
So you look down this quad, like, oh, that's a good quad. You move to the next one. Oh, crap, that's a good quad. It's like, God, like.
Yeah.
Well, in Harris County.
And I think the thing that sticks out to me, especially like Harris County and Ola and those sorts of things, is they're good teams. I mean, they've got good individuals. You know, you've got Decker and you've got, Lundquist and you've got, Garrett Wood and so on and so forth. But from top to bottom, Harris County is a good team. They don't have many holes. They're going to be competitive with just about anybody that they go out and wrestle. So,
absolutely.
So that's one of the things that stands out to me. So quad 3, we have Cass veterans, Mundy's Mill and Northview. Does anybody keep it close with Cass? No. You're shaking your head, but I don't think they can see you.
Oh, my bad. This is no disrespect to Mundy's, veterans, or Northview. You just drew the shortest of straws. Yeah. Like, no disrespect to them, but I think Cass walks through pretty comfortably.
Okay. Quad 4?
I think kind of something similar here. I think Ola is the class of that quad. Greenbrier can go. I know that they're a girls team especially, but they have boys too as well. Don't get it twisted. But I think they can't see it, but Big O. I think the Mustangs pull through. I think that we'll see them in the Elite Eight pretty comfortably.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think Greenbrier has several ranked kids and that sort of thing. Ola is just a really tough team to try to beat. So that's,
you need 14 guys to beat Ola. You don't need 14 to beat Greenbrier. You get what I'm saying?
I'm with you. All right, so quad 5.
Throw darts.
All right, throw darts. I understand where you're coming from because each of the teams, I think Jones County, Loganville, and Villa Rica, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I believe.
Okay. They all have 3 ranked wrestlers, right? So what that means, and Whitewater I think has 1. What that means is that there's going to be an unranked wrestler, or
there's going to be about 8 swing matches.
Going to determine who qualifies and who doesn't.
There's going to be like 8 swing matches at dual meet between Loganville, VR, and Jones County, and even Whitewater. Whitewater came in number 3, so it's not as if like I don't know. This is one where, for some reason, I have a feeling Jones County. Like, and I don't know why I have that, but like the region they come from, like maybe Jones County. Okay. But then in Loganville, like I don't know. I just don't know, bro. I don't know.
All right, quad 6. Anybody keep it close with Woodward in this?
No. I was gonna half try and make an argument for Calhoun keeping it close, but no.
Okay. All right. Quad 7.
Circle dub to the 8.
Say what?
I said circle dub to the 8. This one's gonna be fascinating, bro. Like if you are in the Georgia Central Plains, if you're in the Atlanta corridor and you want to pick a quad to go to, honestly with you, you might want to take yourself down to Walnut Grove High School. This is going to be a fun one.
I agree with you. I think this is actually a really interesting quad. I think Locust Grove can't look past McIntosh. And I really, not that Chapel Hills, they're probably not going to beat Walnut Grove, but that matchup of whoever is against Walnut Grove in that elimination match is, I think, going to be quite good. So let's move to quad 8, final quad. And I'm a big fan of Ware County, but they draw Woodland in their quad because Woodland took second to Cass. So let's talk a little bit about quad 8.
I think so it's going to be Ware and Woodland. And this is one of those things where if Ware was in any other quad, like you switch them in Walnut Grove, I'm probably telling you that Ware's getting through. But it's Woodland, Cartersville. They're 2-time defending dual champions walking into this. And they're going to be hunting for blood. So St. Pius is going to catch a beating just because of what happened with Cass.
Yeah, it'll probably be their first match after losing, right?
It is going to be the first match after losing.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for St. Pius. Just ahead of time, I have a feeling that's not going to be fun. Like, I think it's Cartersville getting through. I think Woodland will get through pretty comfortably. I think it'll probably be damn near double blanking. It'll be close because they're going to be angry.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to pull this back off of this. So that's 5A. And really good quads there as well. We're going to move down to 3A.
3A is a fun one. 3A is a very fun one.
Before we get to the quads, and I don't want you to get into the quads themselves yet, and I'm going to go ahead and share the screen so that we can just talk in general about 3A. On paper, it looks like Gilmer and Rockmart are the top 2 with some teams chasing them, or do you have a different opinion?
I think it's really a top 3. I think it's Gilmer, Rockmart, and Sonoraville. I think each of those 3 teams show a lot of greatness and also show flaws. I think Sonoraville, just for instance, I mean, they're kind of carried by their dogs. So they're in a situation of, can their also-rans get the job done? You look at Gilmer, they're a little bit more of a team, but I think their holes are maybe a little bit more gaping, and they're the guys who aren't their consistent 14 are a little worse. Rockmart is also kind of spotty at points. Like, those duels are going to be based on who outcoaches who, I think. Okay. So all right, there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun to be had in those 3 teams.
All right, and big picture again. Is there a dark horse not amongst those top 3 teams that you think might surprise a few people?
I got to figure out how to word this, because I look down in that bottom right quadrant and I see Oconee County staring at me in the face. And I'm like, God, like, this just seems like one of those years that Oconee County should have a really solid team. And they do. Like, a sneaky good team. They're my favorite to get that number 4, I think. They might be my favorite to take that 4th place trophy.
Okay.
But I'm going to say that. I'm going to say if there's a dark horse, I think it comes out of Oconee County.
All right. And then the last question before we actually get into these quads is there one quad that's more difficult than another as we look at it?
I mean, I think you look at that top left number 2 quadrant. All 4 teams: Pike, Adairsville, Hart, Kahula. I'm so sorry to people from there. I butcher names often. For example, when we hit 1A, there's a couple teams that I just am going to kind of throw some syllables out there and see what happens. But all 4 of those teams can bang. Like, this is, again, one of those where if you go to Adairsville's region, just look who they had to go through.
Right. So I think that's actually a really important point. And that is, just because you're a 4 doesn't mean you're really a 4 compared to everybody else.
I mean, we saw it earlier. We talked about it with 7A. The fact that TIFT, a team who was in the Elite 8 last year, They're a 4 because they're with Camden, Lowndes, and Colquitt. I mean, what are you going to do? Someone's going to be a 4 there. Someone's going to make a number 1 seed very angry. It just depends on who it is.
Right.
Like, I bet North Pauling is livid right now because they're like, of all the teams that we got to draw, it's the best 4 arguably in the state.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
It's rough.
All right, so let's share the screen back again. Let's jump back into some of these now. All right, so quad 1, Appling County, kind of moving in the right direction. Got a lot of momentum.
I think they're a year or 2 out. I think Appling in a year or 2 will be talking about them like legitimately.
Okay.
They got a young crew. I like what I'm seeing at Appling County. I like what I'm seeing.
North Hall is traditionally a very strong program, but obviously down a little bit this year compared to previous years. Anybody challenge Gilmer for that spot? I think
Appling will get through
Hepzibah?
Hepzibah. We'll go with that.
I don't know.
Someone's going to yell at me and DM me, hey, you idiot. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I tried. But I think Appling will get through them, and I think Appling will fight against Gilmer, but I think Gilmer will dominate. Gilmer, you can make the case that Gilmer's walking in as the odds-on favorite. Like, they are a great team top to bottom, and it's...
And it goes back to what we talked about in 5A with Ola and a couple of the other programs is that Gilmer's a team. I mean, they got good individuals, but top to bottom, they're a team.
Gilmer's a tough team to beat because there is no, okay, we could bump around this guy. Because if you bump around him, you're going to walk into a really tough spot somewhere else.
Right.
So.
Okay. Quad 2. We already talked about it. And I think I agree with you. I think it's the toughest quad.
They can't see what I'm doing. I'm throwing darts. County. I don't know.
Okay.
That's going to be fun to watch.
I think it's going to come down to matchups with that. I think.
Yeah, the road through Pike is interesting.
Yeah. All right. Quad 3.
I think. Interesting one.
So I've seen White County a lot on social media. They won Area 7 over Cherokee Bluff. And I think that they're probably the favorites in Quad 3, but I wouldn't sleep on Morgan County.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Like, that's exactly where I was going, is Morgan County can go, and we've seen them have some really – but Morgan's been a little up and down this year, where like they'll have like a great result, and then they'll go to a tournament, and it's like, how did you guys just get 10th out of 20 teams? Like – so maybe they're just a really better dual team, and please do not get, like, Morgan County, if I'm completely out of my gourd, please tell me. Like, I'm only looking at results because I don't see a lot of tournaments that you guys go to, but there's a lot that could happen there. I'm going to say White, but don't be surprised if MC gets through. That's one of those where just don't be surprised.
All right, Quad 4.
My notes on this quad are Rockmart next. I really like the Rockmart crew. I saw them last year at East Cowetta's tournament, and I fell in love with them. I was like, okay, these are 14 kids. They got some good JV guys behind them. They got a great coaching staff. Shout out to Rockmart and what they're doing. They're doing all the right things down there.
I agree with you. I think Rockmart is
they want a state title now.
I think they're a super program. All right, so Quad 5.
And they're on the way up. That's the funny thing, is that their trajectory is up and away. Like, this isn't like, oh, this is the best they got. No, this is the start of something.
All right. Quad 5, Sonoraville.
Heavy favorites. Same thing. The big dogs, the big guys up top that they got, you can't really, like, I mean, not saying anybody in their lineup is anything to scoff at per se, but like, they're one of those teams that when you hit like 82 and above, it's like, oh dear God. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're gonna beat them, you need to be clear of them by like 25 points going into 82.
If you start at 106, you're 100% correct.
Like,
yes.
You
start at 106. You better be up, because when you get the Knights back to back and those big guys from Sonoraville, they're going to put up some points.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're going to pin your whole lineup out in those big weights, but honestly, they might. Like, it wouldn't be shocking. They've done it before.
All right, quad 6.
This is an interesting one because, yes, Harlem's the host, but who do you think the favorite is? Because I think we might be aligned.
I don't know. Lumpkin County has got some good kids, but I think North Murray might actually be the team.
So you and me are on the same page here. I really like what I've seen out of North Murray.
Yeah, so I haven't seen them head to head. I don't know how, and I haven't laid it out yet, so I don't know how they kind of match up. And I think matchups will be really important to kind of finding out what will ultimately happen in that situation.
I mean,
you're gonna flip through your notes.
No, I genuinely think I put them out somewhere. Yeah. When I'm looking at North Murray, I mean, they're a little up and down all through their lineup, but like when you look at some of their better guys, like in the middle of the lineup, they have I don't have names, so for anybody, don't yell at me. I don't have names, but like
we're gonna yell at you anyway. But go ahead.
I know 52 and 70, they're pretty damn solid. Like if they get the matchups they want against Lumpkin, I think they very well could win that duel, and I think they very well could see themselves into the state dual tournament. I'm not picking North Murray per se, but don't be surprised.
All right. Quad 7, you've already made mention of Oconee County. I agree with you. I think they're just below those top 3, but I think they're significantly better than the rest of the teams in this quad. I think they get through.
No disrespect to
no, not at all.
Parsons and Lafayette, but
right. But Oconee County is another really good team. We'll see how they perform this weekend with these teams, and then that'll give us probably a much better gauge about what is going to happen next weekend. All right.
Like if Oconee goes through and beats like 2 of those teams by 65, then we know, oh crap, like okay.
Right.
But if they go through and they're winning by 3 or 2, pause for cause there with them.
I'm with you. Quad 8.
Interesting one to me.
I agree. I think actually all the teams are fairly even. I think Cherokee Bluff actually has the most ranked wrestlers according to Georgia Grappler.
They do indeed. They have 5.
Okay. So, but I haven't seen much of Brantley County. They're the Area 1 champions.
I haven't either. That's the problem is, like, I like Cherokee Bluff, and I want to say that they're going to get through, but I have word on Murray County that Bluff should get through them, but I don't know too much about Brantley. You look at Region 1 as a whole, not to say it's per se weak, but Region 1 doesn't really have any of those like schools that we know of note. So Brantley could be an anomaly more than anything, or an outlier. So this is going to be one of those where we just got to kind of wait and see. If I'm a betting man, I'm throwing my money on the Bluff, but.
Okay. I'm right there with you. All right. So let's, we've now done 7, 5, and 3, and we get to 1A. And before I flip the screen back again, what is it about 1A? 1A is smallest classification, but there are some great matchups in this group.
Let's start with the good.
Okay.
Start with the good, because I you know me, I don't like being negative. It's just, damn it, these people make me negative, Jason. Like, you look at 1A, Tryon, Mount Pisgah, Social Circle, Commerce. Then you look the next level. You got Scriven. Like, you got a lot of teams that can go. But there's a quad that we're going to get to that is bunk.
I agree with you.
I have it on good authority that what happened. I you know me, I have hooks everywhere. So I went and I dug my hooks into people, and I'm like, okay, I need to know. I need information right now.
So we're talking about the same thing. I think everybody in Georgia is.
I am actively rooting against Holy Innocents.
You are? You're actively rooting against them?
You try to play the system. That's coaches get in the way of wrestling some of the time, and this is one of those moments. You let your kids wrestle, and you let the chips fall where they fall. because you don't make them better as wrestlers. You don't make them better as men when you run away from something. And I'm happy that they got the draw they did because it's good for you. Like, maybe you shouldn't do that. Just saying.
But maybe it wasn't just them. Maybe it was the entire area.
Oh, no, don't worry. I know. Oh, no, don't worry. I know. But I also know where the idea came from and who was the one that kind of spearheaded it. Because, again, I have enough links that if I want information, I can get it, especially on something like this, where I can do it. And listen, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a journalism major. If I need information, listen, I could get information if I want. And I did. I got what I needed. And it's not even, this isn't coming from people out. Like, this is me going to people within these teams that were involved in it and saying, what the hell happened?
All right. So let's bring up to date everyone who might be a little in the dark about you and I kind of beating around the bush. And what I'm going to say is this. I'm going to say that the problem actually presented itself when everything was pre-drawn by the GHSA. So
and they decided to let it out who was going to wrestle.
Once you knew who was going to go where before the tournament occurred, it is at that moment then everybody begins to look and say, I don't really want to go to Social Circle, right? I don't really want, I'm the second best team in a really good area. Don't get
it twisted. Like, and this is the problem is I've had Holy Innocents number 5 the entire season. Holy Innocents can wrestle. Like, who doesn't say that they could have beat Pisgah? They could have. Like you could have. But right. What happened is, for those who don't know, they decided to move the seeding around in their region. Because let's call it what it is. Pisgah should have been 1. Holy Innocents should have been 2. But the way that it came out, I forgot who was 2 and who was 3. But Holy Innocents moved themselves to the number 4 seed so that they
hang on. They didn't. I don't know that they moved themselves to the number 4 seed. The group, as a seeding group, they got moved to the 4 seed.
Okay.
I'm just I without being in the room.
When we get off the camera, I'll talk to you about something. No, because I have quotes. Because let me tell you something.
I understand. I'm just
the seeding was moved in a way that Holy Innocents believed they could wrestle to get 3rd.
It sure seemed like that. And then what? They got surprised by St. Francis?
Yeah, St. Francis took care of business, and now all of a sudden, Holy Innocents, in my opinion, put themselves in a worse spot. Because you could have been traveling to Social Circle. Now you got to go up to Commerce. And I can make the case that this new Commerce, led by, you got the Hamiltons, you got now Hulk Hogan in there. Like, that might have been your worst decision. Like,
I hope you heard that, Hulk. I think he just called you Hulk Hogan. Did you call him?
No, I called him Hulk Hogan. I called him Hulk Hogan.
Okay. Sounded like Hulk.
Have you seen that dude recently? My God. Dude is huge.
All right. So let's get beyond this.
Obviously.
All right. And let's move in because
I'll step off my soapbox.
One of the best things about single A is that we have some great quads.
Oh my God! I literally have an entire page of notes about 1A sitting in front of me.
All right, so let's go to the thing, and let's talk a little bit about this. And I'm sure people are tired of hearing of us talk, so we're going to wrap this up. You don't
change the channel. I
don't care. All right, quad 1, Landmark Christian Quad. What do you think?
Landmark's good, but I was at the Area 3 duels, and I'm going to tell you something. Dublin looked good. Dublin beat a Montgomery County team. Now, Montgomery County did look a little banged up. I don't want to say that their guys were injured, but it just looked like it wasn't the Montgomery County team that I had seen once or twice before this season. So Dublin got through. They ran into a Scriven County squad who looked lights out. We'll get to them later. But Dublin and Landmark, I think, will be the quad final, and it should be some fireworks. The road through Landmark is not a easy path for either of those teams.
All right. So quad 2, we get the St. Francis team that took care of what they needed to take care of. Right. But Charlton County's they're a good team. And Athens Christians they're not a bad team either.
I'm going to tell you something about St. Francis. You go out and beat a Holy Innocents team that I had number 5 and 6 the entire year. That raises my eyebrows. Like, okay, what's going on at St. Francis?
Right. Well, and obviously the parent, are they twins? I think they're twins, right?
I think they are. I'm sorry for not being as knowledgeable. Please, someone in my Instagram DMs inform me. They might be twins or brothers, but both of them can go. And then they got a solid lineup, like top to bottom. They are not, I mean, because they beat, look, Holy Innocents, say whatever you want about them. They're a solid team top to bottom. I love Holy Innocents. I have the prep slam. Like I know those guys. Like, they're a good team. So St. Francis beats them. Charlton's your favorites for sure, the road through Charlton, but don't get it twisted. That top matchup in that quad is going to be really fun to watch and really intriguing.
Well, one of the things that was really interesting, this is the first time I think Charlton County has won their area duels. And now,
which is incredible for them.
And now they sit in a position where they could be pushing and having an Elite Eight squad, which is pretty cool. So, all right, quad 3, anybody close to Tryon?
My notes are Tryon. That is it. That is it.
That is a special team. I am super impressed with Tryon. So
I mean, look, there's a reason. There's a reason why I picked up Zach Sharp, and I'm trying to get Blaine Bowman for my dual team. Like, Tryon can bang. Tryon has got hitters from top to bottom. And not only do they got hitters, I mean, you got Logan Eller I can throw in there. Like, their whole team is solid. They're well coached. And this isn't your Tryon that's like, you know what, gosh, Lee, we're happy to get second to Commerce. No, this is a Tryon team that has now won a state title and wants more. Like, this is a hungry Tryon Bulldogs team, you know?
It is. I agree with you completely. All right, so quad 4, Social Circle, looks like the Social Circle of old, man. They are tough. All right,
they are bad.
He's pointing his finger. He's pointing his finger, telling me to move to quad.
Moving on. What happened here?
Pisgah.
What happened here?
What do you mean?
Why is MDS already through?
I don't know. That's what was on the GHSA website. So I don't know if we have an issue
someone at
related.
MDS or Turner, if you know anything, DM me or Fullmorph. I want to know what happened there. I mean, I have it that Pisgah are the heavy favorites, but MDS always brings guys that can hit. So don't be surprised. Mount Pisgah is going to win this quad, but don't be surprised if MDS keeps it a little closer than you might think.
All right, quad 6.
Scriven, man. Let me tell you something about Scriven. I watched them at Area 3. That is a team who top to bottom looks poised. Like, they all knew their job. They all did their job. They dominated not only against Dublin, but I forgot who came out of 4th in that region. Excuse me, I'm losing my train.
Montgomery County?
No, who got 3rd? Red and black team.
I don't know off the top of my head.
We'll see them in a second because I think they're in that bottom. But nevertheless, whatever the case may be, I think Scriven is a really good team. They are in a really good position. I think Zion Carroll will give them a little bit of a challenge, but I think Scriven will be through, and I think the road goes through Scriven once again. This is their 4th region title in a row. And I think the future's bright for Scriven County. Shout out Scriven. Much love to that company.
So I will say the Armucci, is that how you say it?
I believe so, Armucci.
Mount Zion Carroll match has a potential number 1 versus number 2 at 120 with Colby Dempsey and I can't remember his name. Joseph Daniel.
Corn.
Yeah. So maybe a potential state finals match, at least in one of the 14. So
yeah, for sure.
All right, quad 7. Not to belabor the point, but obviously Holy Innocents versus Commerce is the premier opening round matchup. What do you think between the two of them?
That is okay. So everything aside, as a wrestling fan, this is the best first round dual meet I think in the state.
I agree with you.
Like, that is a team that, if I could go back to my most recent rankings, shout out to my rankings on Facebook. I had Commerce number 3, and I had Holy Innocents number 5. So this is a 3 versus 5 for me. This should be a placement match. Like, this should be a state semifinal. Like, this should be something of that nature. And only one goes through Commerce, and I genuinely believe Commerce is the better team, but Holy Innocents could beat them. Like, Commerce needs to be ready to go to war right off the scale.
All right, so let's take that, and whoever wins, Strong Rock Christian is not a bad squad.
They're not a bad squad, but I think that they're that next notch. Like, I had Strong Rock, they were like 10 on my rankings, then they fell out. Like, Strong Rock can go, don't get it twisted, but I think Commerce and Holy Innocents, I think... Now, here's the thing that could happen. Both of those teams have a lot of emotion going into this duel, Commerce and Holy Innocents. You cannot deflate. Because if you win that duel and then deflate, Strong Rock could ding you off.
Right.
So they need to be prepared to wrestle again.
Right. You can't think that you're through just because you won that match.
Yeah, no. Like, there's a lot of intrigue in that quad 7. So if you're in that North Georgia area and you're not affiliated with anyone directly, you might want to take a drive over to Commerce. That might be the one.
Quad 8.
Let me tell you something. I like St. Anne, but Montgomery County's looked good for the year, and they just looked a little weird at area. I'm going to say St. Anne. Don't get it twisted. I think that they win. Gordon Lee as well. They also can bang. It's St. Anne versus the field to me. Like, St. Anne should take care of business. They should be through. But if they don't, if they have a slip up, don't be surprised if we see a Montgomery Gordon Lee final in that quad.
Okay.
You know?
I'm with you. All right. So we've made it through 4 classifications, and we're gonna do another one for the odds. Yeah, the evens. Sorry. Woo.
You're good. You're good.
All right. So 3 takeaways total, just not a specific classification. 3 takeaways from these 4. If there were 3 things that you should watch for.
Watch for these dual meets that are going to happen between a good team and good individuals.
Okay.
Watch for things like that, because there are some of these teams that we rank highly, and we rank them because they have great individuals. But if they run into a squad with 14 hitters,
okay,
dorm life. But that's where upsets happen. 1, 2. This is more a slight. The system is terrible, because there are teams that are going to lose that should be in, and there are teams that are going to win that, with all due respect, don't deserve to be in. Like, I mean, we just talked about it. Holy Innocents and Commerce should both be in the state tournament. Like, call it what it is. They both should be in the state tournament. They should be. But it is what it is. This is the system we operate under currently. One of my many gripes of GHSA, but that's a soapbox for another day, a bigger one. But and then thirdly, it's postseason wrestling, baby. This is, if you're a wrestler, your blood should be jumping. You should be excited for this. This is what we all work towards. The grind of the season, it comes to this. This weekend, seasons will end for teams. Obviously, you have individuals, but someone's season's going to end. There will only be 8 times 7. There will be 56 teams left with a shot for a state championship. You got to be excited for that. If that doesn't get you excited as a wrestler or wrestling fan, you might be dead. Go get some heart palpitations, because you might be dead. Like, this should excite you. Go get chest compressions or something.
I'm with you. So I like your 3 conclusions, or your 3 big ideas. I think that one of the things that I would caution everyone as we think about this is that, remember, it's getting 8 matches. Like, the team to 8 wins in a duel typically wins the duel. And
most of the time, yes.
Yes, most of the time, like 98% of the time. So
yeah, I've only lost one duel winning 8 matches.
So, but just because you didn't match up with a team previously very well, and it was a close match, doesn't mean that you can't, go through.
Oh,
right?
There is a ton of opportunity to flip because we all see it where teams peak. Like you get these teams. I'll call out an example of Mount Pisgah seemingly just peaks at the right time. Like they'll go through the season, they may take a weird loss here or there, they may underperform at a tournament, and then all of a sudden, by the time January, February rolls around, it's like, holy hell, where was this Pisgah in December? Where was this Pisgah in November? Like teams peak, wrestlers grow throughout the year, weight dissension starts happening. Like I think these teams, there's a lot of chance for teams to be new teams. Like they will not be the same team they were months ago,
Right. And actually, that was one of the things I was going to get to. And that is just because one team beat another team in November doesn't mean that that's going to happen in January or February.
No, absolutely not.
So keep that in mind. Lucas, I appreciate you taking the time for this episode and doing this one. And we'll come back and do a second one in a little bit. Is that cool?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. You take care.
You too.